Yo, what are you doing right now? We are going to get real about men's issues, who Jesus is, and who we are as men in Christ. We're going to hear Trey, Jeremy, Michael, and Brad break it down. These guys call themselves the Cussin Christians. All right, guys, what is going on?
I don't know. I feel like, and maybe it's because I drink a lot of water. I drink a lot of
stuff. Yeah, I do too. Chug water all day.
I don't know. But
I don't drink enough.
You know, the doctor said that there's a cure for my ED, and that's diet and exercise. So now if I can just get Michelle to diet and exercise, I'll be...
Snap.
Oh, good thing she doesn't listen.
She does.
1 out of 4. Did you see, actually I meant to send you a thing on cholesterol with the Alzheimer's stuff. Supposedly, like, our cholesterol levels are too low now. And it should be higher because cholesterol... Who's setting
the standard?
Well, that's the point. Companies? It's what, like 50, 60 years ago, they were saying cholesterol was, 350 or something, whatever that number is, was safe. Now we're like, oh, you got to be under 200.
Yeah.
The reality is...
as a heart patient, my LDL's got to be 70 or below.
Wait, who says?
Dr. Fauci.
Yeah.
Nice try, Fauci.
My good friend...
Dr. Pfizer.
Dr. Pfizer. Things in D.C.
This thing the other day. It was on... Mel Gibson was talking about it. 3 of his buddies actually were cured by some blue dye that's in, like, fabrics. And they had, like, stage... Ivermectin, that's it.
Fenbendazole or something like that.
Yeah.
Fabric softener.
Cured of cancer.
Start drinking fabric softener.
And he was hesitant to say how it happened. I don't know why, but he was on Joe Rogan's podcast.
Well, that's because I'm sure Joe. I mean,
that's Joe. That's right up his alley.
Yeah.
That's all Joe doing that.
Well, he was taking ivermectin during COVID. And they,
I know.
Gave him a hard time about it.
Yeah.
He's still here.
We've got a tube of ivermectin in our fridge that we bought at Tractor Supply Company.
A tube?
A tube.
In a tube?
Yeah, and it's apple flavor.
You brush your teeth with it?
No, you just you do it by weight and you just take the dose. And
is it like a daily thing for you?
Donna was the one that used it.
Okay.
And she went right to Tractor Supply and got it. We have our doctor.
That's why
I think it's working.
And it's apple.
Yeah.
I got a little head cold going. Sorry about that. But
maybe you need to take the ivermectin.
Yeah,
he's been taking too much.
I might. If this gets worse, I'm trying to judge if this is something coming on or we're babysitting my dad's cat. Elvis is at my house. My dad's cat.
Elvis is in the building.
Elvis is in our building right now, and Elvis is the king of cats. And I'm a little allergic. But anyway, there's the pharmacy up here where Bottolato's office is in Suntree. He sells the ivermectin and things in there.
There's not that many horses around here, so it's funny that they're selling that.
Yeah, it's right there.
Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff in Tractor Supply that you wouldn't think.
Tractor Supply is one of the coolest stores ever, in our little Vieira Suntree bubble of.
Tractor Supply had one.
Have to go check it out.
You got a Tractor Supply hat on.
Yeah.
Oh man, we need.
Hey,
what's that all about?
I was in there. It was $5.
After he got his tube of ivermectin, decided to buy a hat.
So here's the thing: we were going to the fair when the fair was in town, and
you went to the fair.
I survived the fair as a kid. I mean, little redneck kid I was.
Well, that's true.
But we were going to the fair, and I didn't have a lot of redneck clothes left, so I went to Tractor Supply. And I bought bandanas, I bought hats, I bought a shirt. I actually ordered a Trumpster shirt, which I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it says like Trumpster across the top of it.
Oh my
nice.
gosh.
And some tight, Wrangler jeans and all that. And I showed up to the fair like that.
That's funny though. Like when you're 320 pounds, you can wear a Trumpster shirt in public. Nobody's going to say anything to you.
I don't think you understand how many compliments I got at the fair about
great.
my Trumpster shirt, and it was a great time. And my wife was not happy. Well, she was happy. She thought it was kind of stupid, but then every time they're like, "Dude, yeah, that's right, yeah, Trumpster." Like it's prior to like the election.
Well, of course, it's the fair. I mean, that's
who goes to the fair.
Red country.
But you got to.
And we live in red country too.
Deep fried Twinkies.
Oh yeah.
I love the deep fried veggies though. That's one of my favorites. And then
I go all in.
Get the full fair
Yeah,
experience.
when I go to the fair, it's funnel cakes, and everything.
Yeah,
Corn dogs.
I can see you. I can see you walking those grounds.
I don't even eat sweet stuff, but I go to the fair and it's like a funnel cakes there. I'm in.
Funnel cakes and elephant.
I mean, fried Snicker bars, and it just if you can dip it in some batter and fry it, you're going to eat it.
Well, I even saw fried butter.
Fried butter.
Dude, that's not right.
That's not right.
It's an abomination.
Yeah,
You know what I miss is Chi-Chi's. Their
Oh, yeah.
fried
They're
ice
coming
cream.
back.
Yes.
they're coming back
Remember
here.
that?
I
Yeah,
they're
read.
coming back.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Things are looking up.
A
I
couple
know.
other chains are coming back, but Chi-Chi's is one of them.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We are 72 hours away from a new president taking the oath,
Say the Notre Dame game.
and we're
Oh, yeah.
about
Screw Notre Dame.
day.
72 plus
day.
10 hours past that. We're about 82 hours from Notre Dame, the
National
Buckeyes, but
championship.
national championship. But let's. There are people having inauguration watch parties Monday, and how the country's gearing up for this shift, and I got mixed feelings because I just feel like we are just so focused on a man. And we've been so focused on a man for the past 4 years. And
The wrong man.
well, that's yours and my opinion as well. But I've got friends that are staunchly not liking celebrating Monday. So, and then I got Christian friends that are not liking celebrating Monday. And our focus on a man to take care of everything for us is starting to get me down a little bit.
The weight that we're putting on one person getting elected versus the other, it's unbelievable.
Right.
Like, we're talking trillions of dollars are getting shifted into these different areas.
It's not going to end either. After Monday, it's just not going to end. And
This is like multi-year implications. Yeah.
yeah, and this whole focus of who's in charge, and our country's going to, for both candidates, half the United States thought the country's going to go to hell. We survived the last 4 years of Biden, just like we survived the 4 years before with Trump, just like we survived the 8 years with Obama. It just goes back. And it wasn't all pretty. These are flawed men. Every one of them are flawed in big ways, just like the four of us sitting here around this table. But on social media, as I'm getting up in the morning trying to do the impact social media stuff and, trying to be creative, do those things, I see these feeds of pastors that are slamming. And there's one pastor friend of mine that is so adamantly opposed to what's going to happen Monday. And he sends up a meme preaching the word, and then the next thing he's got an Occupy Democrats thing going, and it's just
So
total.
he's a fan of Occupy?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
He's total spewing hatred.
And you're friends with this guy.
For now.
He was a teacher of mine. He was a teacher of mine in high school. Biden was my president. Trump's about to be my president again, but my God hasn't changed. How do we talk through this with people and say, quit focusing on it? And I go back and read the Old Testament of the scumbags that were leaders.
Oh, they're bad leaders in the Old Testament.
And they survived. Saul was a jerk, right?
But he started off well.
Started off well.
Some of these kings are like, maybe they're going to do good. And then you keep reading. It's like, man, every one of them fell off the wagon at some point.
Well,
I think power kills them.
clear. Decisions that are made by especially the woke liberal garbage that does not work. And if you want to say communism, let's go there, socialism, whatever, it doesn't work. Everywhere it's tried, it doesn't work. And that was put upon us, and we are in the world, but not of the world. That's what the word says. We are in it, but not of it. But we still had the downfall of all those decisions. And so when you look at, and I don't know what Trump's spiritual, I know he talks about Jesus and God, and
After a couple bullets, you would too.
yeah, no kidding. And so, but I don't look to him as my savior, and we know who we look to for our savior. Yeah. So, and I had mentioned before the election, I said, come the election, I'm going to be the same person I am, whoever gets it. It doesn't matter to me, because God's plan is rolling down the road, guys, and it's going to happen.
Doesn't Romans talk about, doesn't Paul talk in Romans about the government and
giving Caesar what Caesar's?
Yeah.
I mean, think about the Jews the Roman Empire with all those Caesars lasted what, 1,100 years?
long time.
Something like that, and oppressive, and it was awful. Luckily for us at this moment, we have a constitution that protects us. And even though whoever is elected might have a checkered past whether he slept with somebody 18 years ago, or whether his son's a drug addict, or whether he had someone in the Oval Office in a blue dress, that's scumbag stuff. But we are scumbags. That's who we are as people before we understand Christ.
And honestly, like, we fight through that battle even as believers.
And we exactly that, and that's where I wanted to go. Is Trump's flawed, man. Mm-hmm. He's flawed, and David was flawed. Noah was flawed. Moses was flawed.
Samson, you keep going
come
down
on,
the list.
let's just rock down the list of these flawed leaders and these flawed, powerful people of the biblical story, and we're going to survive it.
Yeah.
The thing that I appreciate more than anything else is the reputation that Trump has, is that with the garbage, the DEI crap that's been pushed down our throats for the last, I don't know how many years before. I mean, it just accelerated from Obama, lighting up the White House with the rainbow flag and then continuing all the way through. It's like, that's coming to a halt. And there are major corporations that are saying this DEI stuff doesn't work. It's garbage, and we're getting rid of it. And that steamroller is going. And it's like, okay, I appreciate that.
So you want to know something funny? So you're talking about that, right? So I'm meeting with one of these major banks this week, and we were having a conversation about DEI. They made it a 5-year initiative. You know when it comes to end? 2025.
They're going to stop it?
Their initiative's over in 25.
Okay.
So they set it up in 2020 to be a 5-year initiative. That way it would last at least 1 year in if there was the next president of that flavor. But it ends in 25 if they don't want it to go on.
Right.
And there's no push to make it happen now.
Mm-hmm. We all are athletes here, correct?
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
We all played high level. Okay. Do you think...
I mean, Trey did make it to the top of his T-ball league.
Yeah, impressive.
You know what? You don't know my athletic story, do you?
No, tell it real quick.
Yeah, no. I had a shot. I had a shot.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
No, you did.
I had a shot, but
And then you found love.
That's what he was going
God,
for.
that is so true.
That's what happened. That's what happened to me.
Happened to him too.
I was thinking with the wrong head.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you think DEI would have worked in any of our sports leagues?
No, I watched a video the other day of a fat guy beating up two like UFC fighting women. Like literally, have you seen it?
No.
Yeah, so they have these like two UFC women that like fight in the UFC, and they got some out of shape like 45-year-old guy
that says he's a woman to get in.
No,
okay.
he actually gets in as a guy.
Okay, all right.
And it's proven the point is all it is.
Okay.
And he beats the crap out of these two girls.
Yeah.
I mean, just like one of them hits him and he just like looks at her, grabs her, and like flings her across the room.
Wow.
And this is a real meet or real?
It's in a UFC ring.
Oh my God.
Like, yeah.
Are
They're
people
just some
screaming about that?
things I can't do that women can do, and some things women can't do that I can do.
I don't have a uterus. I can't have kids. What
Right.
can I tell you? Like, I'm not built that way. God didn't design it.
Yeah.
I think the point we're going at though is the world is shifting.
Yeah, let's get back to this new leadership in our
For how
country.
long?
Well, listen, I don't think it matters.
When you read the word, it doesn't get good.
I think also part of the point, we were talking about how all the leaders are flawed. I think, and as Christians, that's kind of our baseline. Is we are sinful
Bingo.
in nature. We're fallen, and we need a savior. We need to rely on God. People who don't believe in that think that they're inherently good, and so it's like how is there any accountability? How are you going to change if you think you're good, you're fine? God owes you things. I mean, if there is a God, you're owed these things. And so we have this perspective that okay, Trump's in office, he's a flawed guy. Let's pray for him, as opposed to morally, I'm right, I'm the right guy, and it all depends on me. So everybody look to me. There's a big difference there.
Yeah.
Well, but what's your cornerstone if you don't have something to base it on, right? Like, I mean, if you're not basing yourself on truth and whatever that truth is and where it comes from, then you can't really tell me that I'm wrong, right? And that's the issue we have with most of the people out there.
Well, they don't look at the truth as in between these pages of this book. It's what they can feel, see, hear, what stirs their emotions or whatever. You know, I had a conversation with someone that was more liberal than me, and very great conversation. Good dude.
Yeah.
And
there's good liberals out there.
there's good, yeah. And
We just need to get them saved.
well, no, this guy's saved. But
He's reading the wrong chapter.
yeah, easy. I think he listens, and I think he's going to know that I'm talking about him when I say this. But you know, he just said, "I don't get this. How did he win?" And I went, "Well, I said that 4 years ago." And you know, without getting into all the stuff,
Sure.
I said, God allowed Biden in the White House. If it wasn't,
Yeah.
God is sovereign. He knew Joe Biden was going to be president of the United States, just like he knows Donald Trump's going to be president of the United States again. So let's just agree to that. God allowed it to happen,
Yeah.
and it's part of this plan that he's already painted the whole picture, and he's just showing us portions of it, bit by bit, and Trump's in office because God wanted him there.
Okay.
Well, when the bullet missed his head, by the way,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I knew that he was going to be the next president. Because that was a God moment.
I had that feeling too, and
And we know nothing about the shooter. He's 24 years old, wasn't on social media.
it's crazy how that all died.
Come on.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's crazy how we're not seeing anything else about the New Orleans guy now.
No closure.
See, that's the whole thing of what we don't know.
And now the company that makes the drone technology is taking off the portion of it where they're going to be able to fly over Washington on
Inauguration.
Dude, I saw the drones up in Jersey, by the way.
What were they? Whose were they?
I don't know what they are, but I can tell you there are legitimate drones flying around Morristown, New
They're
Jersey.
huge. They're not the little ones.
No.
they're
huge.
They could carry bombs.
Yeah.
Like they're big.
Wow.
Yeah.
So anyway, my whole point going back though, Trey, is this whole Old Testament, okay? How many thousands of years it took, and flawed men came into power, flawed men had relationships with God, but then they got off track, and God did everything he could in his power because his plan is going to happen. He's going to win. And it took thousands of years from the time of Adam till Jesus Christ to get to that point. Jesus Christ had to come because the covenant was broken, and then the new covenant was formed because of Christ. And so all that in between, all those flawed Pharaoh, let my people go. How many times did Moses say, it's
Let
like,
my people go. You're right. We talk about the scumbag leaders that weren't godly men like Pharaoh. I mean, and there's even more scumbag leaders that weren't godly men. And they're there. The world's
God's plan prevailed.
Exactly. And his promises still were kept. Jesus still came. We can trust in the promises from Jesus until we die or the day that Jesus comes back. Without any question, we can trust it.
How many years did it take the people to get into the promised land? That was an 11-day trip.
They were all over the board. Yeah.
40 years,
40 years.
for an 11-day trip.
Yeah.
So
But why did it take them so long to get there?
disobedience.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so that's why the whole...
They didn't have GPS.
Yeah.
I don't know. They had a whole cloud showing them where to go.
That's true. They did have GPS. Bingo.
The point with that is that all this through the Old Testament, the disobedience of us caused, I think, more and more heartache for children of God. And that's what happens with us. When we're disobedient, it causes more heartache. It doesn't mean that God pulls his favor from us or leaves us, because no, he doesn't.
He'll still send the manna.
Exactly.
And speaking of the manna, I mean, the Israelites were bitching and moaning about the manna, and they said, "You kidding me? We're walking around here for 40 years. We're better off to go back to the guy we were slaves to."
Yeah.
But how often do we do that too?
Yeah.
It's like all of a sudden we have it going in our direction. It's not what the direction we want. It's not good enough
Hey,
yet.
I'm eating every day.
But let's go back to the vomit.
And just like people will rally around evil, and the Israelites are going, hey, we should go back to Pharaoh, man. How many people have fallen into a trap with a dictatorship leader, a la last century, and millions of people died because of it. You know, you look at some of these leaderships in Africa, the genocide that they do. You look at the Germany stuff. You look at Mussolini. You look at Russia. You know, Stalin killed more people than Hitler. And
Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So did Mao Zedong.
He starved them to death. They froze, starved to death because of how he set things up. So there were more people that died because of Stalin than they did because of Hitler.
It's crazy to me, you know, because we always talk about how a lot of people don't want to give control to God, you know, because they want to live their lives. But they, you know, like
That's them focusing on a man.
They still wanted to go back to a ruler who was going to tell them what to do. So it's like you're going to have somebody who's an evil person telling you what to do, or you're going to have God tell you what to do, you know, and then hopefully harvest some fruits of righteousness from that. It's crazy.
It's that short-sighted point of view, right? It's like, okay, well, I can, you know, eat well today, but then I'll starve tomorrow, you know, versus, you know, the Christian or the, you know, that follows God. I mean, we're looking at it and we're going, okay, well, today's going to suck and we got to get through this and it is what it is, but I know where I'm rooted and I know where I'm headed and I know who's giving me the direction versus, you know, my eternity is going to be this, you know.
And isn't that the way it usually works out for Christians and in the Bible, the stories of the Bible? It's like delayed gratification. Mm-hmm. It's like, you may, you know.
It's a really good point.
You might connect the dots later.
You may suffer for the night, but joy comes in the morning. It's like there's something greater coming. There's something that we can have hope in as opposed to, I get it all today and then I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So we have a hope in that.
Right.
And we have a generation now that is fixated on instant gratification.
Yep.
I mean, not even a generation, multiple generations now have been molded into this, right? Like,
What are you going to do without TikTok, bro?
I got rid of it.
Oh, did you?
Oh, yeah.
Fill me in. Is TikTok gone?
It's gone in the United States.
It is like officially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think people
That's
still
good.
have access to it, but it won't update anymore. Like so as the iPhones and everything.
Because every time you have an
it's gonna be
update,
obsolete.
that's when a lot of your info gets shared and stuff.
Yeah, I deleted it a while ago.
You heard Joseph say we are at war with Russia and China. There's just no two ways about it.
It's a Cold War. That's what people like.
Yeah.
It's just because there's not bombs going off doesn't mean a war is not going on.
Exactly.
Not in today's world.
And who's the was it Christopher Wray, the head of the FBI, that said they have access to our grid?
Oh yeah. No, I mean, you know about China buying up all the land and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing. I mean, I'm sure Russia's doing it too. It doesn't take a lot of planning out to figure that out. You buy a bunch of land around power grids.
Let's just go cut some real estate deals, man. Let's go in.
Man, speaking of which, if you guys haven't watched Landman yet, you're missing out.
Yeah.
Oh, buddy.
We talked about
that last week.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a little racy, but it was filmed where I grew up. So I recognize all these places.
Oh, cool.
And I like that. It's kind of cool. Donna's going, you live there? And I went, yep. She goes, it doesn't look good. I said, the people are amazing.
That's why they got barbecue.
That's why they got barbecue and ice cold Shiner Bock made in Shiner, Texas, just to keep everybody happy.
That's another thing. Is that do we allow? Because I fast forward through some of the stuff.
Sure.
In the show, have you watched it yet?
Oh yeah,
yeah. So I'm
I'm constantly trying to do the mute button. Like here comes an F-bomb. I'm trying to mute it in time. It's like a game. It's like a video game.
So as Christians, that's another topic. I guess we're probably going to get off topic, but should we be watching that?
Oh man, that's a whole podcast. So let's table that one. Let's table that one because that's a passionate discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
passionate discussion.
I'm just thinking about some of the dark humor stuff I see that I watch. Wow. It's like that appropriate too.
Well, the thing about Landman is, I don't know if I said this last week, but one of my best friends growing up, his name's Dennis. Dennis lives in Houston now, and his dad was an independent oil man, and we would go out to his oil fields in the summer. And we'd take Dennis's dog, and we'd go out, and we'd have little BB guns. We'd go out shooting stuff.
That's awesome.
Swimming in the Pecos River and all that stuff. And all the pump jacks are out there pumping the oil. And Dennis's dad had a Tommy. He had a Billy Bob Thornton. And that was his guy to take care of stuff.
Really?
everywhere. Yeah. So
That's a real thing.
yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I don't doubt that at all.
Yeah.
I mean, oil companies, they bought up all the patents for all the alternative fuels
Yeah.
60 years ago.
Right. Petroleum is so deep.
That's what I love about God. Something below the ground that we, the United States alone, they say has over 100 years worth of oil.
I think I read that about 2
And
weeks ago.
It constantly rejuvenates. It doesn't go away. It's just constantly happening. And so,
Man, we're gonna get some emails on that. But
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like God,
Send them.
God has provided.
Bring it.
He's provided
exactly.
resources for us to use. The problem is when we get greedy and we overdevelop and
Yeah.
we overuse things. That's the problem. But
Yeah.
in moderation, it's like, this is what God designed. That's
Yeah.
how He designed the earth, and it's great.
I know we're going all over the board here because we started out
Well, we
talking
got Chef back,
about
so we got a lot
leadership,
of
and when
catching up
Sheffy
to do.
comes back,
Well, and I'm ADD as hell. So
yeah, you are. Squirrel, go that way. I'm weary of the focus on one man or a senator or a governor or these policies are going to change everything. They don't. When it boils down to it, I might have some temporary great stuff for me.
I think politics has become like a spectator sport. It's like,
Yeah.
instead of fans of the NFL, you got fans of one party or the other. And so everything that happens every day, and with the news, 24-hour news cycle, you can just watch whatever you want all day and get hyped up or get furious about whatever's going on in politics. So there's a whole group of people now. That's their entertainment.
And but
It's also their religion.
and their religion.
Oh, yeah.
And we don't. The difference is we don't pay $200 a ticket to go sit in a 100,000 seat stadium to watch it happen. We watch it from our hands and our.
I told you guys, like I wore my Trumpster shirt the debate. Like I had like my popcorn and my drink. And
You were.
I mean, I was in it.
You were
Like,
in game mode.
I was in game mode, like watching it. I mean, it's entertainment, but the difference is like I look at it as entertainment versus like where I'm headed.
Yeah.
Like, so like, do you look at it as entertainment and just kind of like, this is what it is? And like, don't get me wrong. You should have an opinion. You should vote the way you want to vote. You should, you should, but like, is everything you have hinged on that?
Right.
Or is it just like, I mean, that's why I have fun with it. Cause like, it doesn't really freaking matter.
There was this comedian that said
You know.
he was in the airport and he had a Biden shirt on, and on the bottom it said, "What?" And so he's walking through the airport and he says, "I can see her, the blue hair coming across the airport. She's coming. She comes up and she starts cussing at him and screaming at him and says, it's not appropriate to make fun of the mentally challenged." And he's like, "I just made my point." It's like, what? And he goes, and he said something about they, them, him, and he's like, people get so fired up about politics, and like you said, one man, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's become people's religion. It becomes their number one focus as opposed to Jesus and salvation, as far as, and then all things will be added unto you. You can't put your trust in a man. You can't do it, because the word is explicit when it says men will fail you, period. And they do.
So what do you say to the person that says, then how do you put your faith in Jesus?
How do you put your faith in Jesus?
Because he rose from the dead.
Because He's God.
Because
But he was a man.
he fulfilled
He rose from the dead, and that makes him different than anybody
he
else.
fulfilled over 300 prophecies prior to his coming.
Yeah.
And he's the only one that had 500 witnesses that witnessed his resurrection. Yeah. And so now
I mean, I had to ask the question, right?
No, Sure. no.
We all know that.
But people don't think that way. I mean, the crucifixion and the resurrection were the key moment in the history of the world, and we have eyewitness accounts of him not
in
there
the Bible and outside the Bible.
and outside the Bible.
That's a critical difference
piece
of the person that's going to say, "Oh,
Right.
it's in the Bible. That's a book they all put together."
Yeah.
No, they didn't. It's
Right.
a bunch of letters, by the way.
But they're using the historical documents to find places in the Middle East. That
Every time they try to prove it wrong,
Exactly.
they prove it right.
Yeah.
There's yet to be a site that they couldn't prove right.
Right.
When they went to prove it wrong.
Right. I mean, the Bible proves these horrible leaders lived,
Oh yeah.
right? So why can't people believe that Jesus was God? If the Bible, a lot of people think the Bible is evidence for all this historical things, and it is. It's historical evidence, and Jesus rising from the dead is historical evidence as well. So you can't you buy in on a scumbag leader in the same book. In the same book, Jesus rose from the dead.
But then we go back and we find out that there is this stretch of the Red Sea that's very shallow. By the way, there was a volcanic event that happened that we proved in Washington State in the U.S. that we found the particles inside of trees that proved that at that period of time, there was definitely a volcanic event that created a huge cloud. When that happened, there was likely a tsunami that like swept away the sea that they crossed in. Oh yeah, and they find chariot parts all over this piece of the sea.
Chariot parts.
To prove that somebody was going across it. And then it obviously collapsed because of the way everything's scattered and torn and whatever on the bottom. We figure this out through science, and it proves that that period of time happened. And that also explains the big cloud that the Jews went and followed around for 40 years. Because it would have been such a big cloud, it would have lasted for 40 years. Like, it's... I don't know. You know me. I nerd out on this stuff.
You're a nerdy dude on that, but
I love
it's
when
relevant.
science like
it's
proves
relevant.
it. Right?
When everyone, when science, a lot of times science inadvertently, they don't want to prove it.
They don't want to prove it.
And they end up proving it for us.
But that's why we're seeing a lot of scientists now go from being atheists. They're starting to switch. They're saying, hey, there probably is something out there. It's more likely that there's a God. Like a lot of scientists now are going that direction and saying, hey, they're probably, we can't prove it because it's not probable. It's actually more probable that something outside of the box created the box.
Wow.
So going back to leaders,
Man, we are all over the place.
But it's a great place to be.
Yeah.
when you look at First and Second Kings, and you know, a couple of months ago, I was reading the whole account of Saul. And how when the prophet was talking to him, he says, the Spirit of the Lord will come upon you. And you know, the first few things that he did as a king and as a leader, the Spirit of the Lord came upon him, and they would defeat their enemies. And so you read that, and you're like, man, this must have been God's guy. Like he was going to be a great king.
Yeah.
Then down the road, he becomes impatient, and he
becomes fearful of David. And,
So I think it's one of these things where, as long as he's following God, things are going to go well. But as humans and as sinful people, at some point we're not going to do that. We're going to fall off the wagon. We're going to rely on ourselves, and that's when things always go south. And so, you know, we can keep praying for Trump that he looks to the Lord. I mean, again, we don't know. I don't know that he's, you know, a church going Christian guy or whatever, but he does allow people to pray for him. He does allow some good Christian leaders to influence him. So that's a positive thing. But anybody, once they get their eyes off of God and they think they're the man, they're the one that's going to do it, things are going to go bad. And so, you know, it's happened throughout history. So we just got to keep praying that he'll keep us focused on the Lord, and that he'll pray and ask God for guidance and direction.
Yeah. So what do we do? You know, the friends of mine that aren't as conservative as what I feel. Election happens, transfer of power happens, and how do we convince everyone? All right, it's over. God's allowed him to be president, so now 70 million people voted for him because they believe in what he's doing. It's his chair to sit in to make the decisions he feels best. You got 70 million people that believe in what his policy decision making is going to be. For the last 4 years, I have sat peacefully, not agreeing with what was going on and seeing things I strongly disagreed with, not jumping into the debate pool on social media and calling him a scumbag and all that. I don't agree with most of his political policies, but I survived it. And God put him in charge. Now God's put Trump in charge. Why can't we just quit the rhetoric, and then 4 years from now, for about 6 months, the rhetoric will go back up when the election comes on, and then it's just, with what we've got today at our fingertips, it's this divisiveness. It ain't going away, all because we're focusing on a guy.
If you want to say, look, it's not about party. It can never be about party. None should perish, and we want you guys to be able to have a relationship with Jesus Christ. Period.
Right. You know, I was telling you this before we went on. Well, we started recording, but this hostage deal that's materializing right now. Okay, both sides are taking credit for this hostage deal. I sent a note to David Harris Jr. He ain't going to read Joe Schmo's note, but
Prove us wrong, David.
yeah, come on. But and I love David Harris Jr. I love following him, but he
Love
was
you more if you call him back.
yeah. If you call me back, but anyway, both sides. I saw the post from him and some other conservatives, and then I saw the post from the Democrats. Biden's getting credit. Yeah, this is a Biden deal. This is the country's so optimistic and Trump's not even president yet, and look what's happening. Trudeau bails out. All these things. Yeah, okay.
51st state.
But I was looking at this hostage deal, and I went, help me understand what we're taking credit for here. You got 35 innocent hostages that were, whatever they were doing, were enjoying a day that got snapped out of their community. There's 35 of them that Hamas is going to give up, yet Israel is going to give up to 2,000 terrorist prisoners.
But that's the Israel story, too.
That's the Israel story. I get it, but if that's accurate, how is this good?
Well, let's get them out in the open where we can pick them off.
I didn't think about that, but
That'd be pretty hilarious.
That's
Go ahead, guys.
It's
Going
like
out the
you
gate.
send your 35 over
that's
first.
that's the Christian viewpoint.
Out the gate you go.
Send them with a bunch of beepers.
Easy.
You get a beeper and you get a beeper.
I just opened myself up for that. But
That would be the ultimate.
but it's like
F you.
like everybody 2 days before the inauguration or 3 days before the inauguration. I think Israel is making the decision tomorrow, which is Saturday before the inauguration. And everything's pointing that it's probably going to all get signed and everything, kind of like Reagan when Iran hostages. It's going to be close because as soon as Reagan was inaugurated, Iran called and said, hey, we're going to let go of all these hostages we have in Tehran. And everybody said it was because of Reagan saying,
Well,
I got a red line. If I'm inaugurated, get ready. I'm unleashing the beast.
in fairness, Trump pulled it out of Reagan's playbook.
And he did.
Yeah.
But both people rallying this, Biden, this is the best thing he's ever done since he was president. And then the other group saying, Trump ain't even president yet, and they're scared to death of him.
Yeah.
And they're going to get it done.
Well, that's
who
everybody's
wins?
full of shit. Is what it comes down to.
And is the deal that great? If it's true that thousands of terrorists are going to get let go for 35 hostages, I'm feeling there's going to be a lot more people dying with these 2,000 being released.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the nature of politics, is to take credit for whatever happens, whether you did it or not. Both sides are going to do it. Both sides are going to take credit. And I just think the cautionary thing is don't make politics your religion. Don't put that much focus on it.
Right.
It is important because it does affect us. And, the $8 box of cereal wasn't a thing 4 years ago, so it does affect us. But to what extent? Like how worked up are you going to get every day about it? How many friendships are you going to lose over it? It's not worth it. Yeah. So yeah, you can pay attention and pray for what's going on, but don't make it your religion. Don't make it,
That's the key.
don't make it be a divisive thing.
Yeah. There's a lot of idolatry going on with who's the leader of our country from both sides. And
that's sad, right?
And that to me, it breaks my heart because Jesus said, don't focus on all that. Focus on me. And so we'll have to leave it at that. But we, by the time y'all hear this, the inauguration's already taken place. So we hope you enjoyed your inauguration party with your popcorn and your snacks and your hors d'oeuvres and your hoo-has and rah-rahs. And for those that didn't like the inauguration, we just shut up. I'm trying to, dude.
I was waiting for shut up.
You've got a doctor's appointment, and I'm trying to get us out of here before your doctor's
But
appointment.
you said hoo-ha.
Well, hoorahs,
I
okay.
don't care if you're 15 or 50. Hoo-ha's a great word.
All right. If you didn't enjoy the inauguration yesterday, guess what? God put him there, guys. Period. And we're all going to endure this next 4 years together. We're so done. I'm Trey.
I'm Brad.
I'm Jeremy.
We are the
Cussin Christians.
Get out. Get out.
If you don't like Big Red, then you.
You don't like Hoo-Hog.
You voted for Biden.
Hoo-Ha's for everyone.